How can we solve operations like these, where we have combined addition and subtraction, but with decimal numbers? If you want to know, keep watching. You'll see that it's actually pretty simple. Let's get started. In the first exercise, we have 5, 4 minus 3, 6. So let's write down our subtraction. Look, so we write 5.4, and from this, we're going to subtract 3.6, 4 minus 6. You can't do it, so we borrow. This becomes 14, and this becomes 4 that way. We have 14 minus 6. 14 minus 6. It equals 8, which we write down. Now we're going to bring down the decimal point and do this subtraction. We said that this had become 4, so we have 4 minus 3. And 4 minus 3 equals 1. All right. That's all we have to do. Right. So the result of the first operation is 1.8 done. Exercise number 2. Minus 2. 0.9 plus 6.14. The first thing to do in this case is to write this operation, but in reverse. Look, I'm going to put it like this. You'll agree with me that minus 2.9 plus 6.14 is the same as writing 6.14 minus 2.9. I want you to notice that the numbers I have here still have the same sign. Look, the 6.14 is still positive, since there's nothing in front of it, which means it's plus, just like it is here. And the 2.9 is still negative, just like we have it here. I'm writing it this way because now I can do the subtraction, right? So, come on, let's write 6.14 minus 2.9. Don't forget that it's absolutely necessary for the decimal points to be aligned. Okay, so now I have 6.14 minus 2.9. Now let's do the subtraction. It's also important to remember that if you have an empty space, you can put a 0 there. Come on, let's do the subtraction. I have 4 minus 0, which is 4. We write down the 4, then 1 minus 9. Well, that's not possible, right? So you borrow, and it becomes 11, and this one will become a 5. We have 11 minus 9, which is 2. We write it down, bring down the decimal point, and do the last subtraction. This one had become a 5, right? 5 minus 2 is 3. All right. Now we have that the result of the subtraction is 3.24. So let's write our result over here. Remember, the result of this subtraction is 3.24, but it's exactly the same value as the operation we have here, which in this case was an addition. But the result is exactly the same, and that's how we have to do it. All right, let's move on to the next exercise. Number 3, it says 82.37 minus 117.3. In this case, as you can see, the result will be negative, right? Because we have more negatives than positives. Look, here we have 82 and some positives. And here we have 117 and some negatives. So the result will be negative. So, the first thing I'm going to do is put the negative sign at the beginning. We put it. And now I'm going to do the subtraction, but I'm going to do it the other way around. What do I mean by that? Look, I can't do the subtraction directly as it is. You can't do it that way. Unless we include some other operations that, well, actually, I've talked about in other videos. But normally we're going to say that you can't do the subtraction just like that, as it is. So, what I have to do is consider that the answer is going to be negative, and I'm going to do the subtraction the other way around. What do I mean by that? That instead of putting this minus this, I'm going to put this minus this, considering that the answer is going to have to be negative. All right, let's do it. So I'm going to write 117.3 minus 82.37. I've already written 117.3 here. And now let's write 82.37. Don't forget that it's absolutely necessary for the decimal points to be aligned so that it looks like this. Right. Look, I've already written them here again. I need to add a 0, so I can just put it right away. And that's the subtraction I have to do. So let's subtract. 0 minus 7, you can't do that, so you have to borrow. This becomes 10, and this becomes 2. 10 minus 7 equals 3. We put the 3. This had become 2, so I have 2 minus 3. 2 minus 3. You can't do that, so you have to borrow from the 7. This becomes 12, right? And this becomes 6. 12 minus 3 equals 9. We write it down, and we bring down the decimal point in the same place. Now, this had become 6. 6 minus 2 equals 4. Here we have 11 minus 8, which equals 3. All right. The result of the subtraction, as it is 34.93. But we had the subtraction the other way around. Therefore, the answer will have to be exactly this same value, only negative. So I'm going to have negative 34.93. Done. This is the answer to the expression as written. Exercise number 4. 2.3 minus 5.6 plus 4.2 minus 1.1 plus 10.5. Look, here I recommend that you don't work through the expression step by step as it appears. What I recommend is to first add up all the positive numbers, add them together, and then add up all the negative numbers. Yes, add them as well, so we can see how much is positive and how much is negative. And then, now you can do the subtraction. Are you following? So look, let's put a little dot here on the positive ones. Well, a little mark. This one is positive. Why? Because it doesn't have anything at the beginning. This one is positive, and this one is also positive. So let's add up these three positive numbers. That is, I'm going to add 2.3 plus 4.2 and plus 10.5. All right, I already have the numbers written down here. Look, 2.3 plus 4.2 and plus 10.5, let's add them up. 3 plus 2 is 5, and plus 5 is 10, so we write 0 and carry 1. Then we bring down the decimal point. Always remember that in addition and subtraction, the decimal points have to be aligned. We continue. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 4 is 7, and plus 0 is still 7. And finally, we bring down the 1. So I'm left with 17.0. Therefore, I'm going to write that value here. 17.0. This is the result of adding the positives. Now we're going to do exactly the same, but with the negatives. In this case, I want you to see that we have a negative 5.6 and also a negative 0.1, so let's add them together. So I write 5.6 plus 1.1, and this is the operation I need to solve now to find out what the total of the negative numbers is. So then I have 6 plus 1 equals 7. We write that. We put the decimal point. 5 plus 1 equals 6. So I end up with 6. 0.7 from the negatives. So we're going to write minus 6.7 because that's the total amount from the negatives. And I want you to see that now the problem is much simpler because I just have to do this subtraction. So I'm going to write 17.0. We put minus 6.7. This is the operation I have to solve. 0 minus 7 can't be done. So we borrow. It becomes 10. This becomes 6. 10 minus 7 equals 3. We bring down the decimal point. This had become 6 minus 6. I get 0, and we bring down the 1. I'm left with that. In total, 10.3. Therefore, the result of operation number 4 is 10.3. Let's go with the most complicated one, which is number 5. For this case, I'm going to proceed in the same way. I'm going to start by adding the positive ones first. This one is positive, and this one is positive. Once I have the sum of the positives, we're going to add the negatives, and then we're going to do the subtraction. All right, so let's start by doing this addition. Let's go. We do the addition. Just let me add a 0 here to fill that space. And now we add 0 plus 3. I get 3. 5 plus 6. I get 11, so I write down the 1 and carry 1. 1 plus 4 is 5, and plus 5 is 10. So I write down the 0 and carry 1. 1 plus 6 is 7 plus 4 is 11. I write down the 1. Well, I forgot to put the decimal point again. Here, 10 plus 1 makes 11, so I carry 1 more, 3 plus 1. That's equal to 5, and finally, I bring down the 1. I'm getting 151.013, so let me write it here, 51.013. This is the result of adding the positives. Now let's put a minus sign, because next we're going to add the negatives. Careful, add the negatives so we can see, I insist, how much we have in total of negatives. Let's see which ones are the negatives. Over here we have a 244.3, which we're going to write down, and we also have an 84 point. Let's write that down too. Done. Now let's add these two negative numbers so we can see the total value of the negatives, right? All right, let's add them up quickly. Here I have 2 left. Over here I have 9. 3 plus 9, which equals 12. So I write down the 2 and carry the 1. We bring down the decimal point. This adds up to 9 in total. Here we have 12 in total. So I write it. We carry 1 plus 2, that equals 3. I'm getting 329.22. Let's write it down. Finally, we have to solve this subtraction. We have 151.013 minus 329.22. Again, I want you to notice that in this case, the negative amount is larger, because here it's 151 point something, while over here we have 329 point something, which are negative. So, since there are more negatives, it means the answer will have to be negative. Therefore, we're going to put a negative sign. At the beginning, we already agreed that the subtraction as it is can't be solved, so we're going to do it the other way around. But we already know that the result will have to be negative either way. All right, so we do 329.22 minus 151.013. All right, we have it here again. Let's put a 0 here so we can keep that space. All right, so I have 0 minus 3. That's not possible. So we borrow. It becomes 10. 10 minus 3. That's equal to 7. This becomes 1 minus 1, which is 0. 2 minus 0 is 2. We bring down the decimal point in the same direction. 9 minus 1 is 8. Let's continue. This one can't be done, so it becomes 12. 12 minus 5 is 7. This one borrowed, so it became 2 minus 1 is 1. Done. The result of the subtraction, that is, the difference, is 178.207. That's right, it's positive. But we already knew that the answer had to be the same, just negative. So we write down 178.207 at this point. So I'm done. I've already solved all the exercises that were assigned to me, because now it's your turn to solve this one, which is homework. But before solving that homework, yes, I'd like to first show you that in fact, this process, well, all these processes I've been following are correct. So I'm going to check this operation with our scientific calculator. In this case, I'm going to use this exercise, which I consider to be the most complicated one. Okay, so I can verify it. So, let's see. I'll put the calculator here, and we'll start entering the operation. First, we have a negative 244.3, then plus 136.45, then plus 14.563, and then minus 84.92. Done. We press execute, and it's telling me that the result is negative 178.207, which is exactly what I have here. So as you can see, what I did was correct. All right, well now I'll leave you to it now. Please, do the exercise, solve it, and when you have the answer, let me know, please. When you have the answer, put it down here in the comments. I'm going to give a heart to the people who get it right. And well, that's it for today. I hope the video was helpful, but most of all, that you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please subscribe to this channel. I'm uploading videos every day. See you next time. Take care and behave. Bye.